In the winter of the year of the duplicitous feline, General Ludwig of Trentish does something irregular. Rather than lay siege to the border forts, he takes his army, 24,000 strong, and marches deeper into the interior of Dunbarra. The army will be beyond its supply lines, and if the force left to watch the enemy forts is driven off and his army is defeated in battle, the result will be disastrous. But if Ludwig can catch Dunbarra off guard, this might be the masterstroke that will end the war in the north. It is 3 years since the Zurinese grenadiers overthrew their government, launching a democracy and inciting the Second War of the Coalition. The revolutionaries are in trouble. Their uprising is resulting in starvation and desertion. Baron Verpelt is advancing into Stilwyn to recapture lost territory. The war in the south is going poorly. In the north, it is almost 2 years since Trentish invaded Dunbarra, blaming incidents of piracy on the Confederation. The Trentish army was driven back by the intervention of the Ubliko, but now Ubliko is at war in the east, and Trentish feels it is time to renew the offensive. The army entered Skuliet in the autumn. But rather than settle in for a siege, Ludwig has kept marching, gambling all on the hope of catching and crushing the Dunbarran army before his own force starves. Ludwig is fortunate because the Dunbarrans have nowhere to run. They have no choice but to stand and fight. Battle is joined on an icy field before the capital city of Dunilp. Commodore Green is present to command the army with about 18,000 soldiers. Green has artillery and a sizable body of infantry, but no cavalry. Ludwig is equal in artillery and a slight advantage in infantry, but also has 2 brigades of cavalry to flank the enemy line and exploit any weaknesses. There is snow on the ground, but the winter has been quite mild. It will have little impact on the battle. Ludwig advances his line while the cavalry move to the left to flank the Dunbarrans. The guns open fire at long range, but with no effect. The Trentish send most of their strength to the left, hoping to dominate that flank, while the infantry on the right engage and hold the Dunbarrans. The artillery on the hill does good work, pinning some light infantry before turning its long-range fire on the approaching cavalry, pinning another brigade. Ludwig's 2 wings are in position, and they charge on left and right. On the right, the Trentish are pushed back or pinned by determined volleys and close-range artillery. On the left, the regular infantry are stopped by fire, but the cavalry on the far flank and the guards in the centre reach melee. The guards quickly destroy their opponents and charge up on the hill, catching the artillery battery. But these are no conscript gunners. They grab weapons and defend their position valiantly, to the point where the Trentish guards are forced back down the hill in disorder. On the far left, the cavalry engage and break the Dunbarran infantry, then run them down, pursuing them up onto the hill. Commodore Green is obliged to relocate as the cavalry charge chaotically into the battery on the hilltop that have just driven back the guards. There must be something in the Dunbarran gunners' grog, because against all odds they drive the cavalry back in confusion. Green surveys the position. His infantry is holding on the right, and the guns on the hill are invincible. The Trentish guards are in disorder in the centre. The Commodore rides to his own elite unit and orders them forwards. He will break the Trentish line and destroy the enemy. The guards barely stand before fleeing the Dunbarran shock infantry. The elites pursue and catch a unit of light infantry in the open, dispersing them easily and pursuing onwards into the fleeing guards behind, who keep on running. Green calls his troops to halt. They are growing exhausted and disordered, and the mission is complete. The Trentish line is broken. The guns on the hill target the cavalry again, destroying them utterly as a fighting force. On the right, the Trentish infantry continue their attack. The regulars push through the grape shot to reach hand-to-hand with the guns' crews, but this battery does not have the reckless courage of their comrades on the hill and break. The infantry beside them are also pushed back by a determined charge. The remaining Dunbarran infantry countercharge into the village but are halted by deadly fire. The Trentish now have the numbers on the right, and to work to destroy brigade after brigade with a combination of volley and bayonet. In the centre, Green directs his elites to charge at the Trentish cannons, but they are stopped by fierce grape shot and mill about in disorder. General Ludwig has managed to rally his own guards and sends them back to destroy Green, leading the way himself. But the Dunbarran elites have been drinking the gunners' grog, and the Trentish guards disintegrate. General Ludwig escapes the destruction and falls back to a nearby cavalry brigade. Green tries desperately to bring order to his elites, but they are still taking close-range artillery fire and are dispersed, breaking and running in all directions. Commodore Green finds himself alone on the field. The Trentish artillery are still in good order, and their infantry have destroyed his right. On the left, a brigade of infantry is holding off the enemy with musketry, and the guns still hold the hill, but the battle is over. It has been a near-run thing with remarkable swings of fortune and daring, but the Trentish have kept the field, and Dunbarra's hopes are dashed. Commodore Green orders his remaining troops to run for the nearby forts and ships. There is nowhere else to retreat. All of Dunbarra is occupied by the Trentish. Green leaves the field to continue the fight at sea. There is another serious battle in the north this season. General Lechevre has led his Zurinese divisions over the Lamaka Gap into Radka to invade Ubliko, while their army is down in Maustria. But Lechevre is surprised to find that the Ublikons have returned home, and with Maustrian columns coming from all directions. The Allied army has plans to cross the Lamaka Pass themselves into Zurin. Lechevre has some 18,000 troops, but Colonel General Bleu now commands 46,000, determined and advancing. Lechevre cannot stand against those numbers and orders a full retreat. 4 Zurinese brigades are destroyed in the rear guard. There are other battles occurring this winter. In the east, where Gudarian is engaging Ottomani and Mirza Viers de Westluiba, and in Crimsonia, where Lord Flavisham's army is marching against Citizen General Acorn. These battles will prove decisive, and Mouse Roper will be changed forever.